Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be talking about Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen. This movie came out in 2009 and I was hype for this movie. This movie was a pretty fun time in the theaters. The critical reviews were a lot harsher than what I would have given it in 2009. Um, Also, honestly, what I want to give it now, this movie had a lot of things kind of working against it. For instance, the writer's strike that happened a few years ago, a few years prior to this movie. Michael Bay actually had to write scenes and write certain aspects to kind of keep this thing moving right along while he was actually in the middle of filming it. Although he's a great visual director, writing, not so much. And, yeah, I mean, look, that's going to be a complaint. It's just going to have to be something that works against the movie. Is just the fact that he just didn't know how to write certain things into, working out. The writers actually of the movie, they were wanting to make this something along the lines of like a Empire Strikes Back, or maybe The Dark Knight, or Infinity War. That's what they were wanting to go for. They were trying to make it on that kind of a level. But because of the writer's strike that happened, I think that really hindered the ultimate end goal of this movie. And that's why this film, the third film, the fourth film, and the fifth film feel like such departures from the first one, which had a lot of heart and a lot of good story and a lot of things that worked out for that movie. This has not a whole lot of that. Revenge of the Fallen, I like it. I'm not gonna lie, I like it. I think it's fun. The Death of Optimus Prime is one of those parts of the movie that is a callback to another movie, The Cowboys with John Wayne. And if you've seen that movie, I think you're just gonna understand where I'm going. So, The Cowboys with John Wayne is a tremendous movie. It's one of the first movies where John Wayne dies. And for those of you that don't understand the cultural impact of John Wayne, I'm sorry. Let me give you a little bit. John Wayne was the American hero back in the day. When you go to see a John Wayne movie, you know who the good guy is, and it's going to be John Wayne, and he's going to save the day, and he's going to kiss the girl. That was it. Like, that stereotype comes from John Wayne, and it's a good stereotype. So, the Cowboys was about this old cowboy, this old grizzled cowboy being John Wayne, training up these young boys to become men. It's sort of like this coming of age tale. There's a part in the movie where this character, Dern's character in that movie, he's fighting John Wayne. And it's this they're in the woods and they're banging each other into trees and they're boom boom boom. It's good. It's tense. It's a really raw fight scene. I think it was one of the first times I've seen in a movie something that felt very raw and a lot of emotion and dire. Like, those of you that have actually been in fights, if you if you don't get into fights often, you get winded pretty quick, you know. And so you got a lot of adrenaline that keeps you going, but the moment you kind of put some space between you and the person you're fighting, you kind of get a little winded. Um, and in that movie, in the Cowboys, in the fight scene where Dern and Wayne are fighting, it's like you feel it. You can see the the weight of it on John Wayne's face in the fight scene. And sorry if you're my kids, I'm sorry. They're watching a movie, but you feel it and you understand the intensity and the raw emotion of that scene, and it's all written on each character's face. And John Wayne dies. He gets shot in the back after he beats the bad guy. He beats the bad guy. The bad guy then turns around and shoots him in the back. And that's what you kind of get in Revenge of the Fallen. Revenge of the Fallen, you have Optimus Prime in the role of John Wayne saving the young boy, and they're in the woods. And they're using these trees and they're beating each other up. And it's a wonderful fight scene. It's great. And Prime wins. He beats the bad guys. He beats them up. They're running scared. He ripped one dude's face into two pieces and called him a useless, rusty piece of tin. And then here comes the bad guy, Megatron, stabs him in the back, blows out his chest. It's raw and mean. Like, it's just like, dude, you didn't need to go that big. That's a little unnecessary. And that scene for me in the movie, like, although it doesn't have quite the weight that it needs to be the death of Optimus Prime, it does enough to make you understand, hey, the good guys are now on the ropes because Prime just died, and it does that purpose pretty good. In my opinion, it does it. Another thing that works for this movie is the growing relationship of Sam and Michaela. Now, the character arc for Sam in this movie, it's important for him to tell her that he loves her first. They don't do that. Michaela says it first. So it kind of negates some of the aspects of the movie and the growth of Sam. But it works because the moment he comes back, he doesn't even know that she said it. But the moment he comes back, he tells her that he loves her. And it's after he dies that he realizes, that he loves Michaela. And he says it to her, thinking he said it first, but she beat him to the point. And I think it kind of works, but it's sloppy, so it doesn't really quite work. And this whole thing of running, another thing with the script is that it was an outline given to Michael Bay, who needed to start filming on this movie. Paramount wanted him to get this into production and start filming. He went to the writers. The writers are like, we got this general outline, but since we're on strike, we don't have anything really fleshed out. He takes that outline, runs with it, and that's what affects the subsequent sequels as well, is that he kind of gets the outline, Mod Podges it together, and we get, a pretty decent third movie, a strong fourth movie, and then a pretty decent fifth movie. That's all I'm going to say on that for right now. But it works. And then this movie also, the writers had talked about they wanted the sequel to be The Empire Strikes Back of the Transformers franchise. That's a big goal. And you don't hit the goal, but if this is Empire Strikes Back, this is, in my opinion, this is you guys. You're below it. You missed it, but you got pretty close because your heart's in it. Like the ideas are there. The fact that you have, Darth Vader with Megatron. Megatron would be your Darth Vader. The Fallen's going to be your Emperor Palpatine. And the biggest plot hole is also revealed in the movie, which kind of negates that power that, the Fallen essentially has. That'd be like Palpatine saying, oh, well, I can't properly rule the galaxy until Obi-Wan Kenobi's dead. And then Obi-Wan Kenobi dies, and then you got Vader there. I killed him, so I guess that makes me stronger than you, bud. And it's this weird thing because that's a big plot hole. I mean, you got the Fallen saying, "Oh, not until the last Prime is dead can I actually rule the universe." And then Megatron's like, yeah, that makes sense. I've got it. I'll take care of him, boss. Don't worry. You sit there with all these weird IVs going through your body. I'll take care of it. He takes care of it. And then by the logic of the movie, he is now stronger. He should be stronger than the Fallen, So the big plot hole kind of ruins the movie a little bit. The biggest thing that takes me out of the movie, though, honestly, is when Sam dies and then he's laying there. Hello? Where am I? And the Primes are like, the first voice. I don't know who does the first voice of the first Prime. He goes, we've been watching you for a long, long time. Or I'm sorry, let me do the actual voice. We've been watching you for a long, long time. And then it goes to the other guy. And the guy that does the most talking to Sam, that voice is such a well-known character actor voice that I hear actual cartoon characters because that's what he's known for is cartoon characters. I hear legit cartoon characters when I hear that. It takes me right out of the movie immediately. But Sam takes that pixie dust. They take the pixie dust from Sam, put it back in the Matrix of Leadership. He shoves it right into Prime's chest. Prime's alive, and it works out pretty good. And it's a pretty okay way to kind of bring the movie together and start to close it up. But I also feel like, once again, if the movie had more time to iron itself out and work out a little better, we could have gotten something better. I'm not going to hold it against the movie, though, because it's not necessarily the movie's fault. It's more the fault of the studio, in my opinion. So comment below, tell me what you think on whose fault Revenge of the Fallen is. I mean, you take that cringy scene of Megan Fox on the motorcycle, that's all Michael Bay. Skids and Mudflap, those are both Michael Bay creations, and they're both terrible. Those are both bad things. So, I mean, those are big problems with the movie that I just don't like. So, I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted. I'm thinking of other things. So, another thing in this movie that I think has a lot of heart that really sends it home for me is that scene where the guy who was the army general, Sam's dad, he's the army general in Godzilla 98. You guys know this because you've probably all seen Godzilla 98. So his dad is having this very intense moment with his son. He's saying to his son, I need you to come back. We're going to stay together. And Sam's like, Dad, that's not how this is going to go. I've got to go do this. And you need to let me do this for the fate of the world. And the intensity of that scene, it's so it's just so good. I don't know how to put it. It's just really a good scene. Shia LaBeouf kills it at that moment with Sam evoking this emotion of, Dad, I need you to let me go. And then the guy who plays his dad, he's just like, you can feel it. Like he wants to be the dad. He wants to protect his son. He wants to protect his wife. He wants to protect his son's girlfriend because they are in the middle of this giant alien fight. And he doesn't want anything to happen to his family. His sole priority is being the dad that protects. That's what he's focused on. And, Sam pushes him away saying, you got to let me go. And it's this tense, heart-wrenching scene if you allow it to like really kind of wash over you and you're kind of in that moment because you get it. You understand what's happening and why, the movie's important. That scene is so well done. And then, of course, it's undercut by that scene that I was telling you about earlier where after Sam dies and he's talking to the Primes, it kind of takes me out of the movie. And then once the resurrection of Prime happens, his line to Sam is my favorite because it reminds me, again, of John Wayne. He says, boy, you returned for me. And it's a good, because honestly, when he said that in the theaters, the first thing I thought of was like, is that John Wayne? Did they use John Wayne's voice? I was a big fan. And this movie for me, although yes, negatives and drawbacks that I'm going to pin solely on the writer's strike, there's also some things that really work. There are some really good things that work. So for me, this is going to be a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Comment below, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you think of this video. Give it a like. If you haven't already, subscribe, of course. I'll catch you guys in the next one.